Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, my name is David Popovich, aka the Bookworm, and welcome to Bookworm Reviews. On June 28th, 1969, at an inn in Greenwich Village, a group of people fought back in reaction to a police raid at the inn, tired of being treated as second-class citizens. The name of the inn was Stonewall. The event would be to what many historians describe as the watershed moment that would ignite the modern gay rights movement. 45 years later, the event around the Stonewall riots would expand into the entire month of June, called Pride Month, to celebrate that we are lesbians, gays, bisexual, transgender, and queer, no longer needing to hide or lie or be ashamed of who we are and the respect we demand as human beings. If you didn't know, I'm gay. Shocker. There are other important gay rights moments before and after Stonewall, but Stonewall stands as the spark to what we are still fighting for to this very day. We still have a long way to go, but by God, how far we have come. So in celebration of Pride Month, we will be looking at several examples of LGBTQ literature. What better way to start off than with one of the most well-known? Sit back and relax as we dive into Brokeback Mountain by Annie Proulx. The story of Brokeback Mountain is about two cowboy ranchers, Enos Del Mar and Jack Twist, both working as sheep herders over the summer, isolated in the Brokeback Mountains of Wyoming. Their relationship starts casual, but over time, something happens. A spark that will ignite into a bond they can't fully describe. So one of the first things you will notice with Brokeback Mountain is it is very thin. This, my friends, is a short story, a first on this show, which offers its own pros and cons. On the con side, you can argue that the plot moves too fast. The book spans over 20 years within, at least with this copy, 55 pages, which means there isn't any breathing room. The plot moves at 65 miles per hour, no time to diverge or delay. You're either on board or get left behind. But on the other side, when done right, a short story is more focused on its plot and characters. It doesn't waste time trying to make the book longer with extremely detailed prose or divert into subplots. Brokeback Mountain is a story focused on two cowboys and examines their relationship. Short, simple, and to the point, which is more than I can say for some full-length novels. Most people know Brokeback Mountain as the gay cowboy story. Cause you know, it's about two cowboys who fall in love and how society makes it impossible for them to be together. Which is what most people think the story is about. Since we see how these two completely different but similar people come together, just at first doing a job to make ends meet. But as the days go on, they learn more about each other and their worldviews. They were respectful of each other's opinions, each glad to have a companion where none had been expected, which builds and builds till sex. Enos woke in red dawn with his pants around his knees, a top-grade headache, and Jack butted against him. Without saying anything about it, both knew how it would go for the rest of the summer. Sheep be damned. Where they discover that they are gay and...
You know I ain't queer.
Me neither.
What?
You know I ain't queer.
But you just... What?
You know I ain't queer.
I heard you the first time! I hate that line. Well, no. It isn't so much the line itself, After all, there are many people who will bend over backwards to say they are not gay. I can attest to that. It's a very common story beat for a lot of coming out stories. But what makes this so infuriating is it doesn't stop there. Throughout the rest of the book, they continue to pull out no homo since they still like women and have no other attractions to other men. I hate it because it goes against everything that I have gone through myself. I like men. I'm attracted to men. Always have, always will. Never in my life have I ever been attracted to women, which to everyone's knowledge would classify me as gay, and to which I identify myself as. And believe me, it took me years just to say those lines alone. So when I read about two men making love and are so obviously in love with each other, like this scene when they see each other for the first time in years, a hot jolt scalded Enos, and he was out on the landing, pulling the door closed behind him. Jack took the stairs, 2 and 2. They seized each other by the shoulders, hugged mightily, squeezing the breath out of each other, saying, "Son of a bitch, son of a bitch." Then, and easily as the right key turns the lock tumblers, their mouths came together, and hard. Jack's big teeth bringing blood, his hat falling to the floor, stumbled rasping, wet saliva welling, pressing chest and groin and thigh and leg together, treading on each other's toes until they pulled apart to breathe, and Enos, not big on endearments, said what he said to his horses and daughters. "Little darling." Then see them pull no homo, don't be shocked if I call bullshit on it.
You know I ain't queer.
I'm not the first one to point this out. There is debate over whether or not Enos and Jack are tried and true GAY. Some making the argument that they are bisexual, since they do have an attachment to women. Though it doesn't even compare to their attachments to each other, but it does bring up its own arguments of bisexuality, since even in the gay community, they are discriminated. Because some believe that you can only be gay, straight, or li. I'm not joking. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Gay, straight, or bi, assholes are universal. So, what exactly are Jack and Enos? Well, upon retrospecting the book, there are two ways to best describe it. The first one being they are gay, but society has made it so they can never accept that they are gay. The story takes place in 1963 Wyoming. To put it in retrospect, that's 6 years before Stonewall. Plus, Wyoming isn't one of the best places to be gay, period. Back then or today even. Based on both the time period and their setting, it's understandable that Jack and Enos wouldn't identify themselves as queer, since the environment they're in could mean death. So they must hide their love and marry women like many gay people did during the 50s and 60s, or they'll die. However, the other way to look at the story is, what does it matter what they are called? Maybe they really aren't queer. I mean, Enos before meeting Jack had a fiancé, and they do mention that they didn't fully regret marrying and having children. But what happened on Brokeback wasn't just a one-time fling. There is something more powerful at play here that makes all of their other attachments weaker in comparison. Within a mile, Enos felt like someone was pulling his guts out hand over hand, a yard at a time. He stopped at the side of the road and, in the whirling new snow, tried to puke, but nothing came up. He felt about as bad as he ever had, and it took a long time for the feeling to wear off. Love. You could call it whatever you want. Gay love, bi love, straight love. In the end, it's just love. One of the most human things there is. We use labels to help separate one thing from another. But when Jack and Enos were on Brokeback, there was no need for them. There was only love until they had to return to a society that placed restrictions upon them, making that love impossible. Personally, I would go with the formal theory, but objectively, I have to go with the latter because it carries more weight to it over just being a gay cowboy story. But that's one of the most beautiful things about this story, It lets you come up with your own theories about what Jack and Enos's relationship is, based on your own views and expanding them with others, stepping into a world that is both familiar and unknown. And to think, I have said all this with a 55-page story. If that's not brilliance, I don't know what is. Seriously, go find this book. It is short, but by God will it leave a lasting impression. But I should let you know, if you plan on buying this story, do not, I repeat, do not get this edition. It's a con. This baby will set you back $10 when you could buy the story collection Close Range Wyoming Stories, offering 11 stories including Brokeback for only a couple bucks more. So yeah, that's about it. You should go read Brokeback. Like right now. It's really that good. What about you, Internet? What's your opinion about Brokeback Mountain? Next week, we go back even further and across the pond for one hell of a show. Till next time, have a nice day.